So there are reports out now to suggest that Forest paid 37 million euros for Igor Jesus. Just how true are they? Welcome to your Forest News. Hi guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to your latest Forest News. Coming up, I'm going to try to explain this transfer fee for Igor Jesus because it's a whole mess. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And let's get under the skin of this because these reports came out and I'll read you the quote here. It says the transfer fee for Igor Jesus to Forest has been reported as 37 million euros, which is 31 million pounds, based on recent statements from Botafogo correcting earlier reports of a 12 million euro fee / 10 million pounds. So that's the thing that got the whole world of social media all excited and thinking what the hell's going on. The most excited fan base from that was, of course, the Crystal Palace fans. Oh, look at Forest, look at Marinakis and Textor doing Marinakis and Textor things. But I don't think these reports are actually true. I think there's been a lot of misinformation and information that's been lost in translation. So what I want to do, I want to share with you the article. I'm just going to pick some kind of key highlights from it. And I'm going to explain to you what I think has happened in this and what I think the actual fee is for Igor Jesus. So let's jump across to the article. And already it's the title, I think, that has a big giveaway. It says Botafogo notifies Lyon for selling Luis Enrique, Igor Jesus, Jair and Savinho and demands 410 million Brazilian dollars. Now, what it says here is that Botafogo stated that it sold Luis Enrique, Igor Jesus and Jair under favourable conditions, in addition to not charging for Almada's loan to help the finance situation of Lyon, a club of John Textor's multi-club network in Eagle football. Now on a war footing, the Alvinguero is demanding reimbursement exceeding 410 million Brazilian dollars for having helped its sister's club's cash flow. This includes players who until recently were excluded from the negotiations in Savinho. A document was sent to Lyon on July the 18th. Botafogo stated that it accepted offers for the three players, Luis Enrique, Igor Jesus and Jair, considering Lyon's situation with the DNCG, the French football finance regulation body. Lyon were at risk of being relegated and urgently needed to increase its cash flow to guarantee its continued presence in the French top flight. Therefore, a concept of a single/fund amount for the Eagles football came in handy. Right, so that's important. We'll come back to that. And then it goes on to talk about it and the DNCG and the transfer blocks and everything like that Lyon had. And then it has the valuations that it had for the players. The values cited by Botafogo were the following. There was no specific cost of Luis Enrique. By the way, he didn't end up going there. Almanda was 27 million euros. Igor Jesus was $43 million, which is about 31 million pounds. And Jair was 21 million euros. And Savinho was 7.6 million. The club is demanding reimbursement of the amount paid by Almanda and Igor Jesus in court. Botafogo understood that the transactions were loans to help Lyon's short-term situation, and it's now demanding financial compensation for all the amounts. The total amount comes to nearly 600 million Brazilian dollars at the current exchange rate. Okay, so very confusing, but let me kind of give it to you in my layman's terms. So hopefully this helps you guys understand it. And again, I stand to be corrected, but this is my understanding and speaking to our guys over in Brazil, what's going on. So the whole thing here is that there was an agreement in place between Botafogo and Lyon to sell certain amount of players. Igor Jesus and Jair were part of that. This is an agreement that was done, I think, last summer, or it might have been in the previous transfer window. And what ended up happening was the fees were agreed in that window. And with Lyon potentially getting the transfer ban, what John Textor wanted to do was get things like image rights sorted across to Lyon and everything like that. On top of that, they created like a one bank account for all. So money coming in from Botafogo would go into Bank A, money coming in from Lyon would go into Bank A as well. And if Lyon needed to pay a bill, they could take the money from Bank A, Same with Botafogo. So it's kind of a joint. Imagine you and your missus, or you and your mister, depending on, you know, who's watching right now. You have a shared joint account. You can both add money into it. You can both remove money into it. And because of that, as Lyon got closer to their court date, and then they got relegated, Botafogo tried to help them by selling some players on the cheap. Two of those players were Jair Cunha and Igor Jesus. So that then put that money into that fund, into that bank account, which Lyon could access as part of the funds and what have you. Since then, what's happened is that John Textor has been basically stepped down from Lyon. He still, as far as I understand, owns his shares in there, or Eagle Holding does. But he's more focused on Botafogo. Now, within the Botafogo bit, there's a whole other story which I won't bore you with right now. And now what's happened is basically he's saying, or Botafogo is saying to Lyon, that money that we were getting and agreed to from you guys for those players, we now want it paid, right? So that's where you're getting these prices, the Igor Jesus 31 million, the Jair Cunha 21 million, etc., etc. And that's where they're taking them to court or legal proceedings or whatever they're doing. Now, how does this tie back into Forest? The answer is it doesn't. Forest saw an opportunity to get a good deal on a couple of players in a situation where Lyon had their hands tied and were looking for money, where Botafogo were going to help them in that joint slush fund account, and Forest went in and were able to get a really good deal on Jair Cunha and a really good deal on Igor Jesus as well. The reports that are now saying that Forest paid 37 million euros for Igor Jesus, for example, I think are talking about, and this is where it's lost in translation, hence why I pointed you to the title, that's the fee that was agreed between Lyon and Botafogo. The Forest fee, as far as we know, is still that £10 million. We saw reports early days saying £16 million. Even if it is that, nowhere near the new fees that are coming out from these articles. And that's where I think all this misinformation has come from. So in my opinion, based on who I've spoken to, the reports that I've read, that article as well, which was quite interesting, this fee is what Lyon were charged at or agreed with Botafogo. This has nothing to do with Forest. Forest are a separate entity to this. It was Forest dealing with Botafogo because once that transfer ban came into place, Lyon weren't then able to complete the moves of Jair Cunha, Igor Jesus and the other couple of players. Therefore, they were available for another club to come in for. Does that make sense? So I don't believe these fees at all. I think it was Percy who first came out and said it was 10 million. That sounds to me more reasonable. It also plays into the narrative that money needed to be sourced quickly to put into that bank account to then allow Lyon to be able to go and enact their case. I hope that makes sense, but get your thoughts in. Am I right or am I wrong? Do you guys who maybe have seen some of this, especially the South American guys, I'd be interested to hear your opinion of it. But before opposition fans like Crystal Palace start pointing the finger at us, it's got nothing to do with us. This was between Lyon and Botafogo. What do you guys make of it all? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't worry, we'll be back with a transfer video, but I just had to clear this up because I was getting so many questions about it. Hope that helps. We'll see you later on for a transfer video. Hit the like, make sure you're subscribed. Come on, you Reds.